They say you were too quiet, too intense, too much. You speak and the room goes silent, not because you're wrong, but because you're different. You notice what others don't. You question what others accept blindly. And slowly, people start drifting away. They laugh at things that bore you. They obsess over drama, trends, and surface-level nonsense, while you're stuck wondering why we die, why we live, why we lie. You smile when you're supposed to, but deep down, you're just playing a role. You feel like a stranger among your own kind, and one day you begin to wonder, is something wrong with me? But what if the problem is not you? Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher, once said that the more intelligent you are, the less happy you will be in society. He didn't say it with arrogance. He said it with sorrow. To him, the world was a chaotic theater. Most people live by instinct, by desire, by illusion. They follow the crowd. They chase simple pleasures, never questioning why. But the intelligent, they can't unsee. They are cursed with clarity. They think too deeply, not just about the moment, but about the nature of existence. And that becomes a quiet tragedy. The more they understand, the more alienated they feel. In a world where shallowness is celebrated, depth becomes a burden. They don't isolate themselves because they're superior. They do it because the noise outside drowns out the truth they carry within. Being intelligent doesn't just mean solving problems. It means seeing too much. You see the cracks in conversations. You feel the hollowness behind smiles. You hear what people aren't saying, and that's what haunts you. You're not just aware of your surroundings, you're aware of the silence between words, of the way people avoid certain truths, and how much of life is built on pretending. This kind of awareness is a burden. It isolates. Because once you've seen the gears behind the curtain, you can never go back to applauding the illusion. You want authenticity, but the world runs on masks. You want depth, but small talk is the currency of connection. So you nod, you smile, you laugh when it's expected, but inside you're carrying a storm no one sees. People think intelligent individuals are arrogant, cold, detached. But that's not the truth, not really. It's not that they think they're better, it's that they've grown tired of pretending, tired of meaningless small talk, tired of having to dim their thoughts just to be accepted. Imagine being fluent in a language no one else speaks. Every conversation becomes translation, every connection a compromise. Eventually, it's easier to be alone, not because solitude is better, but because it's honest. Loneliness may hurt, but wearing a mask hurts more. So they withdraw, not to isolate, but to protect what's left of their truth. Deep thinkers crave deep connection. Not just someone to talk to, but someone who understands the spaces between their words. They don't want perfection, they want presence. Someone who doesn't flinch at silence, someone who doesn't fear intensity. But the world rewards quickness, not stillness, shallow charm, not quiet truth. The loud are seen, the thoughtful are overlooked. And so the intelligent wait. They hide pieces of themselves. They test the waters in every conversation, hoping to find someone who doesn't run from the depth. But most people only swim at the surface. So the thinker stays quiet. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they've learned few want to hear it. Thinking is a gift, but thinking too much becomes a cage. Intelligent minds are often overactive. They analyze everything, every word, every glance, every silence. They replay conversations. They dissect meanings. They ask why long after others have moved on. It doesn't stop. Even in the quiet moments, even in sleep. They see 10 outcomes for every situation. Most of them end badly, and so they prepare for pain that hasn't even arrived and miss the peace that's right in front of them. They call it insight, but sometimes it's just fear dressed in logic. This is how intelligence becomes suffering, not because they know too little, but because they feel too much in everything they know. Intelligent people don't just want to survive, they want life to mean something. They question everything, not to be difficult, but because shallow answers never satisfy them. They look at the stars and ask, why am I here? They look at suffering and wonder, is this all there is? The world offers distractions, entertainment, consumption, noise, but none of that quiets their hunger. They crave purpose, something real, something lasting. And when they can't find it, they begin to feel hollow, like they're carrying depth in a world built on empty echoes. It's not depression, it's disconnection. A soul reaching for something the world has forgotten to offer. They say intelligent people are too much, too intense, too sensitive, too serious. But what they really mean is, you make me uncomfortable. You reflect truths I'm not ready to face. You feel too deeply for a world built on filters and facades. It's not a flaw. It's perception. When your eyes see past the surface, when your words touch wounds others hide, you become a mirror. And most people hate mirrors. So the thinker is told to tone it down, to smile more, to speak less, to simplify. But truth does not come in small doses. It breaks things open. And sometimes it breaks you. So the intelligent retreat. Not because they're weak, but because they've been called too much for being exactly what the world needs most. Every now and then, it happens. Two minds meet in silence and understand. No masks. No need to explain. Just a feeling like you see me. For intelligent people, these moments are rare but unforgettable. They're not looking for perfection, just resonance, a voice that doesn't echo back noise, but harmony. When this connection appears, the loneliness melts. Not because they were incomplete, but because they can finally rest. There's no performance, no hiding, just being. These relationships don't always last forever, but their imprint does. Because once you've been fully seen, you can never go back to pretending. It's proof that connection is possible. And sometimes, that's enough to keep going. Loneliness is not just absence. Sometimes it's the space where transformation begins. For the intelligent, solitude can feel like exile, but slowly, it becomes sacred. Without distractions, they meet themselves. Without noise, they hear their real voice. Without approval, they begin to live in truth. What was once emptiness becomes a kind of freedom. To read, to think, to create, to heal. This doesn't mean they stop wanting connection. It means they stop needing the wrong ones. They build a home inside themselves, a place of peace that no crowd can give and no rejection can take away. In the end, maybe the loneliness isn't punishment. Maybe it's the price of being awake in a world still dreaming. And once you've woken up, you'd never trade that awareness, no matter how lonely it gets. So, if you feel alone, misunderstood, too deep for the surface world, know this: you are not broken. You are simply in a different place on the path. A place that requires solitude, not as punishment, but as preparation. Not everyone will understand you, but those who do will see your depth not as too much, but as a rare and beautiful mirror. So take care of that depth. Cherish the silence. And when it's time, let your light reach others still wandering in the dark. Because the world needs people like you, even if it doesn't know it yet.